Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Em and this is
Andrew.
And my books are everywhere. So I started it, Mistborn, Are You Happy Pumpkin? Yeah. Today I'm in the park and I just started Mistborn, yay! I just finished the prologue and I'm really into it, so I'm ready to start part 1, and I'll be chatting about it a little bit later. I'll see you soon. Quick Mistborn update. I just finished chapter 5. I'm on my way back to, I'm on my way to work, but I definitely will be reading during my breaks and lunch today. It's gripping. Hello friends, so I'm off work and I want to continue on with Mistborn. I'm at about, looks like maybe about a third of the way through, and I decided because it is a warm day but it's also very nice, I thought I'd go to the park to read for a little bit. So I just got here, super excited to continue with this, and let's see how far I can get. Talking about
Mistborn, The Final Empire by Sanderson.
Yes, so this was originally published in 2006, and do you want to give a quick synopsis?
It's about it's kind of like a high story about a group of rebels trying to go against the Lord Ruler, who has ruled over his kingdom for 1,000 years, and he's like immortal. And when the story starts, she is part of a thieving crew, would you say?
Yeah.
And
being the only girl on the crew, she's very protective of herself and she kind of keeps herself apart. She's a very interesting character. I think she's my favorite, probably, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's your favorite character?
Kelsier's my favorite character.
Kelsier's your favorite character, yeah. So we're just gonna chat about Mistborn. There might be spoilers. We'll just give you our thoughts. So Andrew read Mistborn when?
A long time ago, like 2 years ago, maybe.
2 years ago,
2 years ago.
And I've been wanting to read it for 2 years or more, but I just finally finished it last week. So it's fresh in my mind. I don't know how.
I refreshed through it, so.
Oh, he refreshed through it. Great. So as I was reading my copy, I started tabbing things that I thought were very interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the characters in here I thought were awesome. We kind of went over who some of the main characters were. There's Kelsier, Vin, Doxson, Breeze and Ham, Elend, Sazed, and Marsh were some of our favorites. And so let's kind of go over. So Kelsier, what's his role?
He's like the mentor character.
He's the mentor, and he's kind of trying to get a rebellion going against the Lord
He's
Ruler.
Like the leader of all of them, and he hates the Lord Ruler. And there's like nobility, and then there's Ska, and the Ska people are like bottom class to the nobility, and they're just like servants or whatever, and they do all the work. And Kelsier's a Ska, or part Ska, so he hates all the nobility.
Yeah, and what are Mistborn?
Okay, so there's like powers in the book, and they can like take a metal, and they can ingest any metal, like, and then once it's inside them, they can burn it. They call burn it. They could use it, and then they get like a power. And there's like 8 powers, or there's more than that, but there might be more than that. But a Mistborn is a person who can use all 8 of them, and most people can't use any. Some people can use 1, and yeah.
And it's mostly nobility, right, that have access to that. So unless you're nobility or born of nobility, then like a regular Ska person would not typically have those powers. And
unless you're like nobility, like 5 generations, like in your bloodline somewhere.
And so Kelsier then is Ska, but obviously somewhere in his ancestry there was nobility for him to be able to be so can he burn 1 metal, or can he
burn all 8?
He can burn all 8.
And
So was born
for someone to like, if they're born with these powers, that doesn't mean they can use them automatically, but they have to do something called snapping, which is like they have a traumatic event happen to them, or they witness one, and then they like get their abilities. So Kelsier didn't get his until he was like 32 or something, however old he was when he went to like the pits of Hathsin, where they like made him work because he got caught overthrowing the Lord Ruler before the story took place.
Yeah. And so Vin is young. When this story starts, she's what, 15 or 16? How old is she?
15.
15. And so she already has, how many metals can she burn?
All of them, because somewhere on the streets somewhere she like probably snapped, because she just lived on the streets.
She's lived on the streets and had a pretty hard life up until that point. And then there's some other, what's it called when you can only burn 1? Misting. So the Mistings that are part of Kelsier's crew are Breeze and Ham and Doxson, and then he has a Terraceman, and that's a Sazed. I say Sazed.
I say Sazed, but
it's a Sazed. But he has a different story too. He's like a keeper, and that's an interesting thing because they are able to retain things that they learn, and then to be able to recall them. And you don't at the beginning learn how well or how that's done, but you learn about it towards the end of the book. And then we mentioned a couple of other characters. Elend, and he's like a love interest. He's a love interest for Vin, that's and he's also the heir to his house of nobility. And then Marsh is Kelsier's brother. And these are I
the
would say
main
those are
crew.
The main crew. And so Vin, how did they find Vin?
Vin was like using, so she at the beginning she called it her luck or whatever.
Yeah.
She was using it on like a scam, and I think Kelsier. It's been a long time since I read the movie, but I think Kelsier like noticed that, like because there's an ability where you can detect.
Was Kelsier? So she was like setting up the scam with her boss at the time, and she's using her luck, and an inquisitor like felt it.
Yeah.
And started following her. So I don't know if Kelsier was there at the place where she was trying to pull the scam, or if he noticed that the Inquisitor was following her after. But I think that's how they found her.
Inquisitors just try to track down any person who uses any abilities, and they haven't. It's even it's an ability you burn. One of them, not copper, but there's like pairs of metals. So there's one that hides people, and then one where you can detect people using their abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So they can detect people, and they have they're like almost supernatural people, and they really want to detect out like any mistings because they can be like a threat to like them.
What they're trying to do is make sure that that the nobility aren't having children with the Ska, because they don't want the Ska to have those powers. Right, and so they're trying to keep control of that by controlling, making sure that no Ska have those powers, and if they're found, then that's like it could be their death. And okay, so let's talk about the metals, because I thought that was interesting. So as Andrew said, there are pairs of metals, and the way that burning works, or the way the metals work, within the pairs there's one that pushes and there's one that pulls.
Yeah, right? So there's bronze and zinc, and then there's one that's like, it's called a soother and a rioter. Mm-hmm. And the soother can like calm one's emotion, and the rioter like kind of upset one's. So the soother can make you focus only on one emotion, and then the rioter can make one emotion like all, I don't know, say you're a little bit angry, they can make you a lot bit angry. So they can kind of control their people. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of different ones. There's push and pulling on different metals. So you can see metals around you, and you can push it away or pull it closer to you. It's just iron and steel. Copper and bronze, you can detect anyone using abilities near you, or you can hide people using abilities near you. And then there's adium and gold, which adium lets you see the future and gold lets you see the past. Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
And is there another pair?
There's pewter and tin.
Yeah.
And tin increases all the senses, and then pewter makes you like physically stronger.
Okay. I thought that was a fascinating world building.
It's like one of the best magic systems ever.
It was a good magic system. I understood it without a lot of difficulty. And it's been a while since I've read any fantasy, so I was, pretty happy.
They're really entryway level. I mean, you can just pick it up and get what's happening.
Yeah, for sure. So as I said, I tabbed a whole bunch of stuff on here. So let's check out some of the stuff I tabbed towards the beginning. Oh, so what I thought was really interesting is before each chapter, there's like a little section that's italicized, and you don't know at the beginning like who's writing that section. And like I was guessing through the whole thing of who that might be. And I guessed wrong.
Yeah.
I guessed wrong, but still, it was very, very interesting. And even, like, I thought, oh, maybe it's this person, but even then, the twist.
Yeah, there's a big twist at the end.
We won't say what the twist is.
You won't even, think it would be a possibility of a twist, but it is.
It's a twist. Yeah.
There's lots of them.
Yes, so it was really good. So one of the first things that I annotated here, let's see. It says, it amazes me how many nations have united behind our purpose. There are still dissenters, of course, and some kingdoms, regrettably, have fallen to wars that I could not stop. Still, this general unity is glorious, even humbling to contemplate. I wish that the nations of mankind hadn't required such a dire threat to make them see the value of peace and cooperation. And of course, I highlighted that just because of the times. It seems like there's always contention happening between nations, and in this fantasy novel, who knows when it takes place in a whole different universe, but possibly a whole different time, and still, you know, there's all the contentions between nations and stuff. It's sad to me.
Until the Lord Ruler comes and there's no war or anything at all. Because that's before he comes.
Yes, that was before he came. And then he came and stuff was good, but...
Yeah. There's that question of like, is it worth it to have no war or one ruler who like is just kind of a tyrant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this was another thing that I thought was good. So this is Sazed, and he's talking about, so he's a keeper of religions, and so he knows about all these defunct religions, and he's always trying to get Kelsier to pick one of the religions. So he'll tell him about a religion, kind of what the beliefs are, and then Kelsier passes. And he does the same thing with Vin once she joins up with them. They're talking about the religions and what the ministry teaches and alternatives. And Sazed says, the right belief is like a good cloak, I think. If it fits you well, it keeps you warm and safe. The wrong fit, however, can suffocate. So I think this is interesting, because if you grow up in a belief system that you truly believe and it fits you like this, like a cloak, it's warm and protective. But if you're growing up under a system that isn't something that you believe, that's just like somebody is telling you believe this, that it could totally force you in another direction.
That's like Altascal people and the Lord Ruler telling him that they all have to like worship him as their God when he's just another person.
Mm-hmm. And that was interesting too, because there's like several characters throughout the book were questioning, is he a man or is he God? Is he really God? Is he a sliver of God? And it was just very fascinating, lots of stuff to think about besides just the story that's being told. Lots of like other things to think about. So
the setting in this book is like really good. The mist, where it was really atmospheric with like the mist and the ash everywhere. Mm-hmm. And he also took into account how that would play into like their world. Then you like sweep the ash and everything. Yeah. And like in the night they have like the big like nobleman houses like light up in the mist, and it's really like atmospheric. It's a good.
Yeah, I like that. I like that when Vin, so she's Ska and she was part of a thieving crew, so she lived in a hideout, and her clothes were always ashy because the ash is prevalent like out on the street and stuff. There wasn't really a way to escape it until she joined Kelsier's crew, and her role in that crew was to play the part of a noblewoman. And so she had to dress different than in the pants and loose shirt that she wore as part of the thieving crew. She had to start wearing dresses, and she lived in a manor house. What did they call it? They called it something, but a fancy house, and that had servants and that was kept clean. And so for the first time in her life, she had clothes that didn't have ash on them. And she became used to that. And at first, you know, she's like, oh, I can't believe I have to wear these dresses and this is so uncomfortable. But then gradually she became accustomed to that. And
she has to like it.
Yeah.
Like the life there.
Yeah. So I thought it was interesting that even that the Ska, you could tell were Ska in the quality of their clothes, but also because they were ashy, and the nobility's clothes was clean, didn't have the ash, and because they had Ska to clean up for them. But yes, I thought that the whole thing with the ash and because their sun, I want to say like it was
red,
right?
red.
It's a red dwarf. Like
The plants are brown.
The plants are brown. There was no green, which I thought was interesting because somebody was telling Vin about the green plants, and she's like, that would be so weird. Yeah. So I thought that was, I mean, the world building in here is great, and the mists and how the Ska were afraid of the mists.
The nobles just walked.
And the nobles just walked through it, and it was great.
It's a good book.
Yeah.
It's a good atmosphere and good plot.
Yes.
The good action is good, easy to follow. And they don't just use like the same way to get out of their problems each time. They have like a different way they use the powers. And you know that what they can do and what they can't do. So it makes like it tense. Because you know they can't just like find something the author didn't tell you about and just get out of the problem.
Right, yeah. So it's all consistent throughout the book on the magic system and what they can do. And any favorite parts?
Spoilers.
Okay.
Right here. Spoiler warning. Probably Marsh at the end when he saves Vin and kills, and like the Lord was like calling for the other Inquisitors, and there's none because Marsh killed them all.
Yeah.
Or
all the spikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I really liked the banter between Vin and Elend. I thought that was fun. You know, when they're talking about books and she tells him you shouldn't have your nose in a book when you're around a lady. I thought that was good. I liked all of that. I liked Vin's interactions with Sazed and how she was interested to know about him and how she was also learning about herself in their interactions. I thought that was really good. So,
it has good dialogue.
Good dialogue, yes. Final thoughts?
Good book.
Good book, yes. Highly recommended. I totally give it 5 stars.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
6 stars.
6 stars. Awesome. So Andrew was telling me that he just finished The Well of Ascension and started.
Yeah. I mean, I just started it, but
yeah,
they go by very fast as books.
And I will be starting The Well of Ascension, so we'll see how long it takes me to get that. But it's not going to be 2 years before I finish that one. So thank you guys for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and see you next time.